Hello everyone, welcome to King's Talk, presented by Cap City Crown. It's been so long since we last talked, I forgot what I was going to say for a second. Thanks for joining us again. It's been a couple weeks since we've been on the air. You know, been a slow month of August so far, slow in late July. But here we are. The schedule got released yesterday, and John's here with me, as always, to talk about it. But before we dive into it, John, how you doing?
Happy to be back at Cap City Crown headquarters.
Cap City Crown headquarters, located at Cap City Crown Avenue.
In Rancho Cordova.
I'm glad to have you here.
Thanks. This sounds so genuine coming from a lifelong friend here, you know?
Yeah. Well, the schedule. We'll just jump right into it. Schedule got released. The Kings play 82 games, if that's not surprising to anyone. Maybe more if
maybe
they
83, yeah.
Maybe 83 if they, or maybe 85 or whatever, however many the in-season tournament is.
I'm confused now because I thought it was like everybody they scheduled. Was it 80 games, and then like.
Oh yeah, they did, right?
Because I think
You're
if
right.
you don't make, I think I'm still trying to wrap.
You're right.
My
I
head
didn't
around
even
the thing.
think about that.
But I think if you don't make the elimination round, which 22 teams don't 22 teams just play 81 games this season?
Oh,
we should have talked about that
okay,
before
wait.
we recorded.
No, it's okay. They're with us. So let's see. So what's 41 minus 2? 39 plus 40.
79.
Yeah. So it looks like.
Well, because they're going to schedule an extra 2, right, in between something. That has something to do with it. So that's why some teams are only going to play 81. I think. Well, now I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But whatever.
But I remember when, like, Wojnarowski came out. I think it was after the finals, came out and was, like, talking about how he made the report that they were going to announce it the next week or whatever. I think I remember him saying something along the lines of, like, most teams will play 82 games, but some teams will play 83 or something like that if they, like, go to the final in the tournament or something like that.
Yeah.
And some will just play 81, which was one of the things that I got stuck on because I was like, how stupid is this tournament?
How many rounds are there? There's 3, right?
Well, there are 8 teams that go to the elimination round.
And then 4, then 2.
Yeah.
So wouldn't some teams play... Well, that's 3 more games.
Yes, from 79. And if you don't, they schedule an extra 2 games.
Gotcha.
I think
okay.
in between a certain time.
I'm following you now.
Yeah. That's what I gather. It sounds so jumbled because that's how it is in my brain right now. It's taken me like a month just to get that far.
Yeah. I mean, our good friend Bleacher Report, who's the kind of sneak diss the Kings, and who really cares, but they've been sneak dissing the Kings. They called Sabonis the most overrated player in the league right now, and they said something else a couple weeks ago that was just kind of dumb. And so, about the Kings, I forget off the top of my head, but they actually have the Kings, maybe trying to make up for it, they're feeling the backlash from the Sacramento Kings fans. They have the Kings going to the finals of the in-season tournament, but losing to the Celtics.
Who cares?
I did.
Who gives a shit? I'm sorry, like that's not making up for anything. That's not making up for anything. That's so dumb.
Dude, they love us now.
They're saying that
What was the other thing they said?
the Kings' crux of their offense is overrated.
They the power rankings. No, never mind. That wasn't it either. It was something. Yeah, I don't remember.
Well, good. And thanks for bringing that one up.
You're welcome.
But
There was something.
well,
I'm just saying.
we were talking about the schedule, right?
Yes.
So, you know, this is the thing about the NBA that's so unfortunate. It's like when the NFL schedule gets announced, that's 17 games. You know, you're not playing everybody, and you only get set up against a few conference or a few divisions. And so, like, the strength of schedule is it's like you can really define it. You can quantify that number. This whole NBA crap, when people are like, they get this up there on their schedule. Like, shut up. You don't know how teams are going to be playing at a certain point. You can maybe make an argument about the travel, but even that is not even separated by a bunch. And it's not even about the miles traveled. It's about how many miles traveled in a certain amount of time. How much wear and tear does that take? Because overall, they're all technically going to end up having the same amount of fatigue.
Yeah, it's for football is really the only sport that I feel like strength of schedule matters. But the Kings do have the third toughest strength of schedule. Like I said, it doesn't matter. You know who they're going to play going into the season anyway, right? Exactly. It's like they're going to play this team twice. They're going to play every Eastern Conference team twice, and then every Western Conference team 3 to 4 times, depending on if they're in the division. Or maybe 2. I really don't know how they make the schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how they make it exactly. But one of the things is, if I were going to make an argument, because do you think you could make an argument that the Kings have a tough schedule? One of the things that makes it so tough is that, like, half of their back-to-backs occur in the final third of the season. And maybe this makes it easier, but I think it almost raises the stakes. Because the Kings they had a winning record at home. They established some form of a home court advantage, although it never really stuck. I mean, they lost in 7 games to the Warriors despite having, home court advantage. Yeah. And it seemed like they were a better road team for a lot of the season than they were a home team. I think the only team that had a better road record was the Nuggets, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, I think they were like the best for a minute.
Yeah.
Did they lose it?
I think it was like the Nuggets, Celtics, and Kings had like the best road records or something like that.
Okay.
But, point being that you're going to be getting into a situation where you're going to have a lot of like back-to-backs kind of jammed into that final post-All-Star break period, and you're going to have to take advantage of home games. So maybe it's not the best argument to make about it being the most difficult, but it's a definite challenge, and it's one that's, the Kings, I think, can definitely meet that challenge, but it's not exactly proven, especially on that home court kind of advantage, taking advantage of that kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens late in the year, because they could go into the All-Star break, be the 1 or 2 team in the West or whatever, top 3, but that final third of the season could really kick their ass. Potentially. So, that's why I hate the conversations about, like, them trying to, like, come up with some form of a number about it. It's just, like, I don't know. Like, who is able to analyze all these schedules and all the ins and out of it and, like, to kind of come up with who's tough and who's got a tough one, who's got an easy one.
Yeah. You just don't know how the team's going to play. Because, going into last year, the teams with strength of schedules, like the Kings, obviously the season prior were terrible, and look at them, they're in the 3rd seed, so it's like obviously doesn't match up.
Exactly.
Like I said, at the end of the day, you kind of know who you're going to play. You know who the good teams are. You're going to play every team. Like, It's just strength of schedule doesn't matter.
You're getting the same calorie count, just in a different form of food.
Yeah.
Everybody's eating the same thing, essentially. It's that tournament does really.
Yeah, the tournament will be interesting this year. I don't know. I'm not like the biggest fan of it, but I can't say that I won't be excited for it if the Kings make it. So
yeah,
we'll see.
It's one of those things that's kind of interesting because it's just like, it's in December. NCAA football is really big in December. NFL
that is
coming
true.
out right before the playoffs is that home stretch of the regular season, which is like the most exciting time for football.
That's a
football.
good point.
And it's just like,
what days are the games?
Well, the playing game or the group stage games take place throughout November.
Yeah.
And then it's the first week and a half of December, basically.
The 4th through the 9th.
Right.
Oh, and then December 6th and 8th are the regular season games. I see.
Yeah. So they like squeeze that in.
Okay. So 4th, 5th, 7th, and 9th will be the tournament knockout rounds. So, okay. That's early December, though.
Yeah. Get it out of the way.
That's like a whole week, too. So will that take place on, like, the weekend? No, it's literally weekdays. Except, it's Monday through Saturday.
What are you talking about?
The tournament. Oh. I guess it's every day except Sunday.
Yeah.
But, they cover football there. I know they have, I don't know, is football on Saturdays that early in December?
I think they do it, like, the week or 2 before Christmas. I think it's, like...
So they might barely just cut it out, and they just leave in Sunday, and they know they have no competition. But there is college football on Saturdays.
Oh, that's true.
And that'll be the championship, I'm assuming, on the 9th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Las Vegas.
Maybe the Raiders are playing.
Nobody's going to that. Well, people are going, but...
Who's their quarterback? Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy G.
Just swapping. not Bay Area cities, I guess, anymore.
They should have stayed in Oakland.
I don't know. Now they're going to lose the A's.
Yeah. That's a shame.
They're going to lose everyone.
It's just a mess. It's like they go to Vegas and they become an even worse organization because the 49ers did joint practices with the Raiders, and all the reporters could talk about was how poorly they were treated. They were like forced to stay 2 fields away from the practice field that they were actually using. They didn't get fed lunch, which is a very standard thing. They were just treated like garbage. And they're in Henderson, Nevada, and it was like a muggy desert week. And it's just like, who wants to be there?
Yeah, that sounds awful.
But, yeah. So that's what the NBA is competing with. See, we couldn't. I can feel the NBA's pressure to try to come up with things to get people to watch. Because even us talking about the announcement of the NBA schedule, we couldn't help talk about the strength of schedule in football. We couldn't help talking about the 49ers and the Raiders. This is just a microcosm for the basketball's, mire that they have to go through constantly.
I know.
Competing with a very, very violent and fun sport to watch.
I never understood it as a kid, going on a little tangent, because I was a big baseball fan growing up. That was like my sport, as it was my friends, including John's. Although you were a little more into football than football than I was, but I always turn on ESPN, and I never saw any baseball highlights. It's only ever football highlights. I'm like, I want to see baseball, no one else. Like, growing up now, I'm an adult, and it's like, yeah, I can see why. Like, I do not care about baseball like I used to. I'd much rather see football highlights. I mean, maybe not in May, but I don't know. Like, I'm very excited football's coming back in a month? Yeah. It's crazy.
It's nuts. Preseason games already starting. Again, here we are talking about football.
Yeah, talking about watching Derek Carr a couple nights ago. against
making a comeback.
But yeah, basketball. Kings schedule. Drop your prediction in the comments on what the Kings are going to go.
Where do you think they're going to go? They won 48 games last year?
Yeah, that's a good question. Man, I want to say like 46.
Yeah, 47. No one's going to hold you to anything because
I will, so don't comment. We have you the receipts. You should be afraid. I'm just kidding.
But 46? And where do you think that will put them in the standings?
6th.
Yeah.
I want to say they're better than a play-in team, but I mean, you assume the Suns. Like, as much as I'm like, yeah, the Suns, they don't have anyone other than their starters. I'm like, their starters are really good.
They got Chimezie Metu,
dude. Never mind, they're not
even gonna Bol.
They got Bol.
Dude, those guys were probably destined to be on a team.
Why?
They're just complete like jokers.
Are they? Bol?
Well, no, they're just guys that like teams kind of have like these high hopes for, and they never really
fair enough.
Anything.
I would say high hopes for Metu is very big of a stretch when you compare him to Bol, who was a lottery pick.
I gotcha. But in terms of like what they can develop the guy into,
don't get me started on Metu. I mean, so you have the Suns. I wouldn't say the Mavericks. You would say the Nuggets, the Suns, it's always so hard because we did better than the Clippers last year, but it's like the Clippers and Warriors and Lakers. They're kind of like a weird spot where it's like I kind of understand when ESPN ranked them above the Kings. I'm not saying they're right for it, but it's like I can't say for sure the Kings are going to be better. The Lakers had a good offseason. The Clippers, we did better than the Clippers, but if Kawhi's healthy, Paul George is healthy, I think they got someone. Didn't they just get... No, I know. I'm thinking about the Warriors. We did better than the Warriors, but they just got Chris Paul. You can't count that out. They made a decent addition. And it's like you can't count out these teams, especially the Lakers and Warriors, who have LeBron and Steph. As much as we hate the Lakers, I'm just trying to be realistic. And same with the Clippers. They have Paul George and Kawhi. And then the Suns are the Suns. But like for sure teams, I would place money being better than the Kings. I don't know. Who was the second seed last year? Memphis was the second seed?
Yeah, weren't they?
Dude, probably.
I was like,
that's crazy. I don't know. Now I'm like thinking about it.
I think Memphis is going to be really good. I think Denver's going to be really good.
You think Memphis is going to be really good?
They got Marcus Smart. And
They did get Marcus Smart.
that takes care of the loss of Dylan Brooks, and you're getting a better player. And also, Tyus Jones, who was their backup point guard?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Marcus
I don't know why I forgot about Memphis.
Marcus Smart kind of like he's kind of a plug for both of those guys, and you're getting kind of like I love Marcus Smart. I think he makes a lot of stupid mistakes.
Would
like,
you
in
mark
big games.
stupid?
but in terms of hustle and whatnot, and being a leader on that team, I think it sounds so empty. It sounds like a platitude to be like, yeah, you get a leader for Morant. It's going to be really big for him, But
yeah,
you're also talking about a situation where despite that suspension, it's like everybody thought Memphis was going to fall when they were kind of going through all that drama, and they did fine. So it's like if anybody's set to go through an 82 game season again, I think they're going to be able to be one of those teams that does it.
That's fair. That is fair. I guess my problem with Memphis, I'm not saying they're a good team, obviously. I can't believe I forgot they were the second seed. I guess maybe my thought of Memphis is that I don't see them as a team making a deep run in the playoffs. I don't know.
That's fair to say.
I feel like they've had a couple chances so far, and they haven't gone far.
Yeah, well, they got knocked out in the first round last season.
Yeah, and the season before
they lost to the Warriors in the semifinals, right?
Yeah, and the season before they went. They were still young in that first season when they knocked out the Warriors in the play-in, so you can't really count that. But it's you've had 2 seasons where you had high expectations, especially last year when you get knocked down in the first round. The Kings, they're like I said, they're kind of clear right now. Like Memphis was, you can't really grade them on their first year. This year, they get one more year, really.
For you?
Yeah. It's if you can't just keep getting knocked down the first and second round. You have to at least make a Western Conference Finals appearance.
That's true.
After your third season, making the playoffs.
How long did it take for the Nuggets to get where they're at?
Well, they made the Western Conference Finals in the bubble.
Okay, that meets your criteria.
It makes at least you're playing for a chance to go to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
I feel or at least winning the conference. That's when it starts mattering. The semis and quarters, it's they're fun, but it's you get knocked out there. It's okay.
Yeah.
Remember Chris Paul never went to the Western Conference Finals until they went to the Rockets,
right.
And that was his big thing. It's he can't make it past.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the good teams at least elevate to that Western Conference Finals. That was a problem, and not just Chris Paul, but the Clippers. There was a really good regular season team, but it's they go to the playoffs, can't make it to the Western Conference Finals. That was a problem with Lob City. They couldn't get over to that next hump to even get a real chance to go to the finals.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair to say about Memphis.
Same with the Clippers. I think that's why you write up the Clippers too. They haven't made the Western Conference Finals since getting Paul George and Kawhi.
Like what you said earlier, they got to stay healthy first. They got to prove they can do that first. But yeah, I still put just thinking regular season though. Going back to the initial question of who's a clear cut, someone that's probably more likely than not going to finish ahead of Sacramento.
Yeah.
Denver, and then we agree. I think Memphis probably.
Yeah.
But I think the Kings still have to win their first playoff series. But I think there's an argument to be made that the Kings have more of a chance of going on a run than Memphis.
I think so.
I think a guy by the name of De'Aaron Fox might have something to do with that.
Yeah.
No disrespect to John Morant, obviously, but.
Fox for his first playoff series, it was just oh man, that was his first. And it's so upsetting that Sabonis. I'm not upset Sabonis did poorly. I am upset, but it's it was honestly a bad matchup. It sounds like such a bad excuse, but it's
we were saying that before the series even started. We were honestly saying we took a different angle. Before the series started, we said it's going to be a tough matchup for Sabonis, but the Kings have to find a way to make him the hub of the offense again. Because that didn't end up really needing to happen because De'Aaron Fox just took over.
Yeah.
But we had the right idea. I give us credit.
Oh, yeah. For sure. So it's... man, if we didn't play the Warriors...
Yeah.
Who was the other team we could have played? The Lakers?
Could have been the Lakers. It was between the Clippers, Warriors. Who's the?
I want to say it's the Lakers.
Yeah, it had to have been.
Dang, that damn Pacific.
The Pacific, man.
Yeah, it's a good division.
Yeah, I always think Portland's in that division.
I know. I don't even know what division Portland's in.
They're in like the
what's it called?
The Northwest or the mountain one or whatever. Is that what it is?
Northwest.
It's got like Portland, Denver, Utah, I think Minnesota, and is there 4 or 5 teams per?
There's 5.
And probably OKC or something because they used to be up in Seattle.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
I think the Northwest maybe. It's the Northwest Conference.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's so funny because I honestly, now that you mention it, I'm like, yeah, I don't know the name of that conference either. Actually,
I don't even know if I could name.
You have the Southwest, which is like San Antonio.
How many? There's 4. There's 30 teams in the NBA.
Yeah,
right?
so it's 3 divisions per conference.
Okay, yeah.
And the divisions are so arbitrary.
Yeah, Northwest. They become really irrelevant like 4 years ago. There was like a little relevancy. I just remember one year when like James Harden started getting good on the Rockets. I think his second season, they had a worse record than the Spurs. But I think the Rockets and Spurs, they made it seem like they're in a different division. Oh, now I'm confused. But I remember just one year because they have to be in the same division, right?
Yeah, I think they definitely are.
But it was so all Texas just dominates the Southwest with Dallas, Houston,
San Antonio,
Pelicans,
and
Arizona. No, that's in Pacific. What's the last Western Conference?
What's the other Western Conference team?
There's 15.
We have 14 of them.
I know. I'm trying to think of like South.
Memphis.
Fucking idiot.
Memphis. Well, they'll be in the Eastern Conference soon enough.
Yeah, it is OKC. That's such a boring division, the Northwest.
The Northwest?
It's like the Nuggets, Portland, Minnesota, OKC, and Utah. Like, thank God the Nuggets have done something. Like, out of these other teams, like, Portland's has one championship.
No, Portland and Minnesota. You had me at Portland and Minnesota.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, I give some respect to Utah because even as they retool, they're kind of intriguing.
Yeah.
Denver, championship team.
Do they have, like, 2 championships out of all these teams?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, because Denver and then who else has?
Well, how many championships does Denver have?
That was their first.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And Portland has 1.
Oh yeah,
with Bill Walton.
That's right, in the 70s.
And OKC doesn't have any, obviously.
Right.
I don't think the Jazz do.
I don't think so either.
They
lost all of them to Jordan.
And then Minnesota definitely does not.
No.
Wow, that's a pathetic division. Let's just be wrong. They had 14 championships. Yeah.
Back when Minnesota was the Rochester Royals.
It was something about Houston had a worse record than San Antonio. Or no, yeah, they had a worse record. But it was something about the division where they got ranked higher in the Western Conference than the Spurs. Because they, they won I don't know. Or maybe they won their division in, actual...
there a point in time, though? Because what I thought you were going to say was there a point in time where the division winners were the top seeds? Or is that a Mandela effect memory implanted?
No, I want to say it was kind of that way.
I thought it was, because that must have been the reason why they had divisions to begin with. Because that's just so stupid. The NBA, the League of Futility.
Aren't they talking about just, stopping conferences in general? Or am I crazy? No. They're talking about stopping something. I don't remember.
I don't know. If they got rid of conferences, I don't know.
No, conferences it doesn't make sense. It was something. I don't know. We're not experts. I wish I remembered this though. Anyways, this was 2016.
So yeah, do the research at home.
The divisions.
Yeah.
The Kings are Pacific Division champions. Who's gonna knock them off?
Put that banner up in the rafters, baby.
I know. Are they going to?
Yeah.
Have they?
I think they're going to probably do it for when they do opening night or something.
I would love that. I still have
That's a huge deal.
I still have my O2 sticker on my window at my mom's house. It says 2002 Pacific Division champions. It's the logo of the Kings. I love it. I'll never take that down.
That's classic until something.
Like
is it stuck to the window or is it just up in the window?
No, it's stuck.
Don't break that window.
Yeah. It's a beauty.
Yeah.
But 2023 Pacific Division champions.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
It's got a pretty nice ring to it.
It's a great ring. Let's see if we can do 2024 this year. I don't know. It's going to be a lot tougher. Kings were really lucky with injury history, or their injuries, or lack thereof, I should say, as everyone else in the Pacific Division was struggling. Obviously, Paul George and Kawhi.
AD missed some time.
LeBron
missed a lot of time.
Yeah. And then...
But they were also technically hurt in another way. Their just rosters sucked before the trade deadline.
And that was the Warriors' problem, right? Steph or Clay weren't
Steph
hurt.
missed some time.
Not a lot, though, right?
No, I think Clay played a lot of the season. I think Draymond missed some time.
Yeah. Clay, because
and
Clay
then Wiggins was gone all year.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about Wiggins. Yeah, and he comes back and freaking...
Oh, great.
Thanks, A-W. A-Dub? They call him A-Dub or something?
No, he's Wiggs.
Oh, Wiggs, sorry.
What's up, Wiggs? I was thinking, like George Washington or something like that. George Washington pulling up to the studio.
And the Suns, I don't know. We'll see if KD actually plays.
The Suns are just so interesting because...
Like Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. But then, like, we're saying the same thing. With a better team, with the Nets. With, like, Kyrie...
Yeah.
Kyrie Durant
it's
and
such a top-heavy team, and they're learning things on the fly. I feel like they really put themselves at a disadvantage by getting rid of the one piece of stability they really had, which was their head coach, Monty Williams. The fact that they're doing a head coaching change. Now, granted, Frank Vogel's been around the block before. He won. Granted, it was the Mickey Mouse Championship, but he won a championship in L.A.
Yeah.
So it's like he's got a chance to kind of like, drive that bus, keep it on the road, but. There's a good chance that top-heavy roster gets derailed in some manner, Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish top 3 in the conference. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up as a playing team.
Yeah, I agree.
I really, either way. I feel like there's so much volatility in what they could do. And, people are talking about them being 1 or 2 in the conference. Everybody was saying they're going to jump up to 3 or 2 in the conference after they got Durant.
Yeah.
And then Durant never played. And they never took into the account the fact that chemistry needs to build up, and basketball is it's a sport that relies a lot on team synchronization, and it's just like, and again, proving that point in another manner was just the Kings, staying put, which I think when I was talking about the power rankings, these very stupid power rankings in the middle of August, that was my point about the Suns, I don't really care where anybody puts these people on these power rankings, but it's just like some of these things have to be said. It's like what you were saying about Memphis. Now, granted, that had to do with the playoffs, but there's caveats. It's not as simple as what's on paper. And if you're going to look at it as just on paper, then you probably shouldn't read that, because anybody can look at that and just be like, yeah, they're really good. They got look at all the salary being paid to 4 guys.
Yeah.
Can't forget DeAndre Ayton.
DeAndre Ayton, I know.
But if DeAndre Ayton is only good relative to his position, I mean, like being a star, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't know. It'll be not a toss-up, but I don't know. Anything can happen. It was such an odd season because even the Kings winning 48 games, that's like a 6th or 7th seed team in the West in the last several years. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of feel like my prediction would be the Kings are going to win 48 again.
Yeah.
And I think that's an improvement because I think the league will be a little tougher. Mm-hmm. I think they'll have more stability, and the Kings they'll be better because, a lot more development for various guys. That is another thing that people don't really count. But what do you expect?
Yeah, the Kings didn't make any big moves. You're just kind of hoping on the development of Murray and the addition that, of Vezenkov, but it's hard to...
Yeah.
Rate him. Duarte, yeah.
That's the one that the national media always goes, but we don't know how that's going to work out. They always say. I'm like, that's fair. I mean, we don't really know what Duarte's going to bring, but...
No. Hopefully just good 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
And so if you can be a 3-and-D guy, I just love it. 3-and-D is just everything in basketball now. You have your 2 stars in Sabonis and Fox. Everyone else 3-and-D. And Murray, of course, you're expecting 3-and-D plus a little extra added offense. But, I mean, Herter 3-and-D, Barnes 3-and-D.
Well, Herter got to work on that D first. But
yeah,
but that really comes down to conditioning because there just seemed like there was a certain point.
It's honestly amazing that he shot over 40% from 3.
Didn't he get off to like a 58% shot?
Yeah, he got up like super hot, and then he got super. He was cold for so long. I'm like,
and then he had that great month of March.
Yeah, after the
All-Star, and I thought that was going to translate into a great playoff run, and then he just
so bad.
He knows what he has to do.
Who was worse, Barnes or Herter in the playoffs?
Herter.
Yeah, he was pretty bad. He was like unplayable.
Yeah, he was so bad on defense. He was getting his butt kicked.
Oh my goodness.
He's just there's like we always say about Herter, there's potential for him to be a true two-way player, but it's just like got to connect those dots.
Man.
And it comes down to the conditioning, as everybody can now agree, and everybody can see with their own eyes. And Herter said it himself, so.
Yeah. Jeez. If Barnes hits that shot against the Warriors,
yeah.
How far would the Kings have gone?
Well, that would have put them up. Would that have put them up 3-0 or 3-1?
I think 3-1.
They win the series.
Yeah, but then after that, where are they going?
Oh, against the Lakers?
Yeah. Think they beat the Lakers?
In a second round series?
I mean...
You know what? Considering... I'm going to say they would have lost to the Lakers.
I think they could have beat the Lakers.
I think they could have beat them, but I'm just going to go ahead and say, like, the Warriors-Kings series felt so evenly matched, but then the Warriors-Lakers series didn't. Like, the Lakers felt like the more superior team. And they won in 5 games, I think. So, I would say that the Lakers would have won in 7. I'm going to go ahead and say that.
That's fair. I know. If we played any other team than the Warriors in the first round...
You would have had home court advantage again. You would have been coming off a playoff win. You would have had a lot of confidence. I almost feel stupid for saying they wouldn't win. Because when you go with that angle, I feel like they would have.
But then you're losing in the Western Conference Finals against the Nuggets. Although we always play the Nuggets well.
Yeah. And it would have been one of the things that I put in the article about the schedule coming out is that one of the things that's really big is like, you know, we only got to see Jokic and Sabonis play once together, like against each other in the 3 games that the two teams played. Because the first one, Sabonis missed it with his fracture. And then like they played the Nuggets again in 2 games in 3 nights, I think. Sabonis returns. It was his first game with the fracture. So that wasn't even a lot of like fun to see.
You're right.
He played well, if I remember correctly. And then the last time they played, it was the last game of the season. Sabonis played the first half. Jokic didn't play at all. So it'll be interesting to see. And they played Denver 4 times this year, I think. So that'll be interesting. You get a really good gauge, like a gauge that you didn't really get last season, like the Kings at full strength versus the Nuggets at full strength. So that'll be kind of interesting to see.
I have a question, kind of like taking it away from the schedule. We kind of been talking about Sabonis and Fox a little bit. So I've seen a lot of talk about, I mean, really since the playoffs, a lot of people, it's me and you have always had this like, who's the best player on the Kings talk?
Best player on the Kings Talk? The Kings Talk podcast?
Kings Talk, dude, exactly. Is it me or you?
I mean, come on.
We always had this talk, right? Discussion of who was kind of the better player. We always kind of agreed Sabonis was, but it was almost just like it was hard to compare the two, and who cares? And then the playoffs happened because Sabonis had more MVP votes in the regular season.
Deservingly so.
Yeah, he was great. And then the playoffs happened, and then now he's the most overrated player in basketball because he had one bad playoff series. Like, he didn't put up 17 and 12 and 5. Yeah, exactly. Because he couldn't hit a mid-range. Like, that was, for some reason, like, that was his game anyway.
Yeah.
Like, Sabonis never took that many mid-range shots during the season.
I feel like he took more threes than he did mid-rangers.
Yeah. So, yeah, now it's all his fault because he couldn't hit a mid-range. Like, that was the ever report of his game. I mean, but place to improve, I guess. So now everyone's all over Fox. Because then on the other side, Fox was just tearing it up.
Mm-hmm.
So... And a lot of people are saying, I mean, Kendrick Perkins put out a list, and again, national media, who cares? But he put out a list saying he's a top 5 MVP candidate going into the season. Another guy, Zach Lowe, said he's a dark horse MVP candidate. I guess, I mean, right now, and I'm going to put you on the spot, who's the better player?
Who's the better player?
Yeah.
Like, overall?
Yeah.
Well, Fox is the better player overall, but Sabonis brings it every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know I'm splitting hairs here. I'm just avoiding the question.
Okay, even better question. Who's going to get more MVP votes next season?
Sabonis.
You think?
Because he's going to do what he did last season. He's going to put together end-to-end a more consistent and productive season. But Fox, it's like we say every time. My favorite, comparison, analogy, whatever you want to say, Sabonis is the sails. You can't go anywhere if you don't have the sails up. But how far you're going to go and how fast you're going to go there depends on the winds behind the sails. Fox is the wind behind the sails.
Yeah.
And it's just, this is true. The nature of the conversation. That's just the way it's going to be. You're not going to get a clean answer out of me.
I could see Fox getting more MVP votes. And now I guess I'm changing the question. Like, who's the better player? Who's going to get more MVP votes? I could see Fox getting more because he's a flashier player. I mean, he's the one hitting. He's the clutch player of the year. Like, Sabonis can't add that to his resume. Like, what's cooler, the clutch player of the year or the rebounding champion?
Yeah. I'm
not saying Fox is a better player. I think Sabonis is, personally. But now going, just because of what he does for everyone on the team. But I don't know, this MVP vote's got me interested. Because, like, Fox, he's got that flashiness behind him, and the national media loves him right now. He's getting a lot of respect around the league in general. I wouldn't be surprised to see Fox, if he has a similar season to what he did last year and the Kings finish like top 3 again, I could honestly see Fox like finishing 5th in MVP voting.
Yeah, what does that say about MVP voting? I mean, like you saw it with the Embiid winning,
Yeah, that's true.
It kind of seemed like people were almost kind of coerced into voting for Embiid.
That's so stupid.
Why
stupid. Did he win it?
And that's why I like what you're saying there, because like, okay, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it should be that way, but I agree with you. And my whole thing is just like Fox, when he's on, I do think he's the best. And now, obviously, that whole like better player thing, because you're like, well, Sabonis does more for his teammates. Like, that's true. But like when I think of like best player, it's like one-on-one who's better.
That's true.
So it's like that speed that Fox has is just incredible. His ability to finish and get to the rim would beat anybody probably in a game of one-on-one basketball. But I don't know. I mean, for that reason, I do think, like, setting up for that scenario, basically same situation, but more credit to Fox's name now after the playoff run and all that stuff, and an offseason of being able to kind of sit on it. I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that, where it is the same, but he gets, like, far more votes. All of a sudden, he's, like, 5th in voting, even though he wasn't really anywhere near the top of the list.
I want to see Fox, honestly, and for him to do this, and I think he has it in him. And I know maybe that's not so much the offense with Sabonis running things, but I want to see Fox start inching towards like 30 points a game.
Yeah, I think because when they had, what was it, Fox and Sabonis after they traded for Sabonis to end that year, the 15 games they played together, didn't Fox average like 30 points a game?
Yeah, he had a really good end to the year.
Yeah, and so like last season at this time, like 30, maybe like 28 a game was kind of like an expectation, like not a hardline expectation, like you don't do that, you had a down season, but it's like a realistic expectation. Like he could get 28 points a game. What, he had 26 or 25?
He had 25 even.
Yeah, 25 even.
25.0. Yeah.
I think it's this thing about Fox. It's like he's capable of putting in end to end, just giving it his all. It's tough with his style of play, obviously, the amount of like miles he puts on, but he can get 30 points a game. Like he could have an SGA type season.
I know,
where they actually win games. Like imagine SGA on a, doing what he does, but on the 3rd seed. Like they could easily be Fox.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's just a question of just, can Fox sustainably do it? And it's like in a lot of ways, he did sustainably do it. But if you're talking about MVP, creme de la creme,
yeah,
it's tough, and he knows that. So it'd be interesting to see, but I don't know. Just because Perkins is saying it.
Big Perk.
Cook that one up on the toilet.
Yeah. I just think next year, if he can get close to 30 and the Kings actually stay with... I mean, I'm getting all these ifs now,
No,
right?
But if he does that, he will be 1 or 2 in MVP.
Yeah. But the Kings also have to be top 3.
The winning has I totally agree.
And it would, you'd assume.
Yeah.
I don't know, it'd be interesting. I'm excited. I mean, obviously last year is probably the most exciting season. I can't say I'm as excited. Not to say it's not an exciting year. But, I mean, last year was literally, we're probably going to end the playoff drought.
That was Christmas morning for Kings fans.
Yeah.
That was literally waking up from a dark, cold night, and it's the best day on the calendar.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
17 years. 16 seasons, 17 years or something. But it'll be interesting. Like we've been saying all off season, it's really going to depend on Keegan Murray.
A lot of it, yeah.
I mean, most of the jump. I mean, Fox again. If he scores 4 more points a game, it'd be awesome. And Sabonis can hit a mid range. I mean, they all have things they know they're going to improve on. Barnes, I don't know, just don't decline. Honestly,
maybe if he had a more consistent 3-point shooting season.
Yeah,
because he still shot like 39%, I think. But
yeah.
It felt like, especially early in the year, he just couldn't hit anything.
Mm-hmm. Barnes is very streaky with the jumper.
But yeah, Monk being consistent to be a 6th man of the year, Herter working on the conditioning, but I agree. Murray's that development, which is so key to how they do, is very contingent on Murray. I mean, Murray's jump is potentially the biggest.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
There's no one else's.
Yeah. Year 1 to year 2.
Yeah. As what he did in year 1, too.
Mm-hmm.
Was incredible.
Insane.
Yeah. I mean, just, at the end of the day, you just hope everyone can hit threes other than Fox and Sabonis at a high clip. And
I have a funny question. Not a funny question.
Mm-hmm.
But, because it's not funny. You're talking about people's livelihoods here, but you're talking about how important 3-pointers are. Who's somebody, there's a lot of guys that hit threes on this team in varying, degrees of, like, skill, but who's somebody that is going to be a bit of a letdown from the 3-point line? If you had to guess, just here in August, before training camp even starts, who's somebody that you'd be like, man, I just have a bad feeling that they're going to have, like, a terrible year from 3? And it could be a big name, it could be somebody, like, not so big.
On the Kings?
Yeah.
Like, who actually did well last year? Or
just being, like, decent. Just being able to be a threat from 3.
Mitchell.
Davion, yeah.
He's working with Steph's coach and everything. I think what you were saying to me, so I don't mean to take your words, but I'll give you credit. It's like, he's going to be 25 this season? Mm-hmm. 24? It's like, you don't have your jump shot yet as a 6-foot guard. I mean, the smaller you are, the better you should be at shooting. It's like, you don't have it now.
Yeah.
And, it's just, I mean, and he said he's having great workouts with, I forget the guy's name, but Steph's shooting coach, his trainer. He said he's even been able to talk to Steph about his shooting. They went to training camp together, or a mini camp a couple weeks ago. And so he was able to talk to Steph, but, I mean, Yao Ming can go talk to Steph and not change anything about his 3-point shot. I mean, Mitchell has it in him because he's 6 feet. He should be able to do it. And he said my criticism of Mitchell's shot is that he was very stiff. He was very mechanical. Mm-hmm. And Mitchell did talk about being like a little more loose and like free, like actually shooting the ball instead of like just getting to the mechanics. He did say that when he was on the Deuce and Mo show. So it was nice to hear. Like, okay, you kind of get it now. We'll see if that helps. I mean, it could, but, like, I don't know. It's going to be year 3 for him. It's going to be year 25 of his life.
Yeah, I think one of the big things for him is just, I'm trying to pull up the splits on pull-up threes and catch-and-shoot threes, but I just off of memory here, I just feel like he just got to be able to hit those catch-and-shoot threes.
Yeah.
And he shot like 31%, so I wouldn't be surprised. Even if he was better on his catch-and-shoot threes, it's still probably around 32 or 33%. Let me try to pull it up first, but, that's got to be one of those things that you got to be able to hit those shots. This is the big ones. Like, you don't want Davion shooting off the dribble very much.
Someone I worry about for who actually did have a really good year last year and for not having as good as a season from 3, I'm not saying a bad one, but it's Murray. Because Murray, I mean, he shot 40.
He's so good.
It's like almost like, how do you up it from there? Like, yeah, you can make more threes, but you can also shoot lower percentage, I mean, you shoot 41% from 3 as a rookie. That's insane. 41%.
Yeah.
It's like, is he gonna shoot? I mean, if he can stay as a 41% 3-point shooter, that'd be crazy. I think he'll make more threes this year for sure. Will it be at 41%? I'm not sure. And I guess that's kind of like the metric. I mean, what if he makes 273s, but he's shooting 36? Would you rather make him Would you rather have him make 250 at 36%, or would you rather have him make 210 at 40%?
Right. Yeah. You're not asking me that, are you? You're just making the point.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of asking.
No,
I mean, the answer.
I mean, I see what you're saying. That's a fair game, but. Just on the Davion Mitchell thing, as I suspected, his catch and shoot was about 34%, and his pull-up was 26%, in total from 3. He shot 32% last year. So you got to be better on the catch and shoot ones. That's not terrible, but it's got to be better. Here's the thing that really illustrates kind of like the catch and shoot being open. On wide open threes at about 1.8 attempts per game, he's shot 31%. Wide open.
He had almost 2 wide open attempts a game.
That's what it says here, because
I believe you.
His tight and very tight are 0.
Yeah, because no one's on him.
It's either yeah. So he's not that illustrates everything you need to know.
That is hilarious. Yeah, I honestly almost like Davion with someone on him. Now that I think about it, I don't know.
Because then he's gonna try to get to the rim. He's not gonna try to step back on somebody.
That's true.
It's 6,
But I always hate watching him take a wide open 3. Sometimes I just don't like watching people take wide open 3s because I think they just get in their head. It's like, I'm so wide open. Unless you're like a great shooter. It's like those mid guys who are like 36 in the 30s. It's like, oh man, now they're thinking too much. Where those catch and shoots with the defender on you, you just have to get it up. You get in your rhythm. But it's like you get the ball, you take that dribble. It's like,
that's the worst.
Like they're just looking at that rim and they just like hit off the side of the backboard. Like, oh.
That whole mentality of shooters just shoot, that not only applies to struggles, but it applies to that wide open thing. Just shoot it. Don't think about it. Just do it. Yeah, shooting is kind of like being a pitcher. You got to have like short-term memory and being a relief pitcher. But yeah, Davion, dude.
Davy off.
Davy on, or is he Davy off?
We'll see. We'll see next season.
Dude.
Is he going to make an all-defensive team?
Yeah. I think if you're talking about what you're doing, if we're like off of that Fox note, what you did in the playoffs can serve you in voting in certain awards. I think they can get him on a second team, all-defensive team.
Yeah, I think so too. And if he can hit that 3, he's going to see the court a lot more.
Yeah, that'll definitely.
And then that'll up his chances because he's
Even though him not hitting the 3, I still think that's a great excuse for his use late in the series against the Warriors. But
I know
that was just weird. But you know what? You got to lose a series to win a series in my mind. So might as well lose the Warriors.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Mike Brown's thinking, I guess.
This is our thinking.
Sometimes it just still feels like they kind of threw that.
Yeah, and he talked about it on the Deuce Mo show too. He's like, if I could shoot, I'd be on the court. But I'm like, really? Like your defense.
Well,
if really
if TD was defensive player of the game all the time, I'm sure he'd be starting.
Yeah.
If my grandmother had, I'm not going to say that one, but I don't know. I mean, it's true. He's got to hit shots, though. That was the initial point. But
yeah. Fun though.
But
I don't know. You got anything else, or
that's kind of it. Off the kind of just riffed there for 45 minutes or so, and
yeah, I hope it was. I hope we kept you pulled in, entertained. Hope you're still listening at 48 minutes at least.
If you're listening here, we got a coupon code for you for 75% off at the Cap City Crown store. But you got to listen in for next episode, and we'll throw that in there.
Yeah.
No.
No. That's a good point.
That's 75% though.
I'll give you a free shirt if you comment that. You have to DM me on Instagram, but if you if you comment the word Davy off, in the YouTube comments, you get a free shirt. If you're choosing whatever you want on the store except a sweater, so it has to be a shirt or a hat. You get a free
tank
one.
Tops okay?
We don't have tank tops
anymore.
anymore.
I don't know the store.
Davy off in the comments. It's yours for the taking if you listen to it.
That's crazy. Oh man.
All right, well, we're gonna leave it there. I want to thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah.
Until next time, Davy off in the comments.
Somebody's gonna hear this and not even comment. They're like, I don't want a shirt from them.
All right, well, have a good one, everyone.